Council Member Abbott.
Aye. Here, present.
That's
Whatever.
good enough. Council Member Hilliard.
Present.
Council Member Hoyt.
Yes, present.
Council Member O'Quinn.
Present.
Council Member Smitherman.
Here.
Council Member Williams.
Present.
Council Member Woods.
Present.
Council President Pro Tem Alexander. Council President Pro Tem Alexander.
Present.
All right, President Parker.
Present. Okay, we're back into the meeting now. Is there a motion on item 1?
We already have one on the floor.
Okay, we already have a motion. Okay, all righty. Just so get back up to speed, we're now back on item number 1 and here to entertain any of the comments from the council. And if not, we will proceed then with a voting of item number 1. Okay, seeing none.
Well,
Okay,
Mr.
go ahead,
President,
Councilor.
can we restate what we're doing just on this particular item so I can?
Yes, sir. Would you want Mr. Gambrell to do it, or you would want?
Well, just summarily, not in great details.
Okay.
So,
Mr. Gambrell, do you want to give us a start?
Never mind. We got what they, because the conditions and all that stuff is intertwined here, right?
Sure.
Am I right, Mr. Gambrell?
Yeah, the ordinance includes 6 key conditions.
Okay, very good. Okay, that's good. I'm ready to vote.
Okay. All righty, Mr. Clark.
Abbott.
Aye.
Council Member Hilliard.
Aye.
Council Member Hoyt.
Yes.
Council Member O'Quinn. Council Member
Yes.
O'Quinn.
Yes.
Council Member Smitherman.
Aye.
Council Member Williams.
Aye.
Council Member Woods.
Aye.
Council Member President Pro Tem Alexander.
Aye.
Council President Parker.
Aye. Okay, item 1 passes. Let's see, item number 2, let's read it, and I'm going to make a motion that we delay it, but go ahead, let's call it up.
Item number 2, an ordinance to further amend the zoning district map of the city of Birmingham. Case number ZAC 2020-27 to pre-zone territory proposed for the annexation from HZ Holding Zone, Shelby County, and B2 General Business District, Shelby County, to Q D5 Qualified Multiple Dwelling District, City of Birmingham, to construct a new 187 residential unit development filed by Jim Beatty, representing the owner, Abby Greystone LLC, Frank Barfield, for properties located at 7273 and 7277 Cahaba Valley Road, situated in the southwest quarter of Section 29, Township 18 South, Range 1 West, in the hearing of all interested parties. This is a public hearing item.
Yeah, and I'm going to ask that before we move forward, pleasure of the council to either be withdrawn or a motion to delay it for 4 weeks.
Mr. President,
Yes, ma'am.
why would we be delaying it or removing it?
To make sure that, Councilor Abbott, that language is included to reflect that all items need to come back before the council.
Mr. President,
I
Yeah.
don't think this needs to be delayed.
Mr. President,
Okay,
can we get it on the floor first before we?
okay,
discuss it?
all righty,
I
okay.
need a motion on the item, please.
I move approval.
Second.
Okay, the item is before you. Now you can, I'm sorry. Now you can go ahead.
Councilor Abbott.
Yeah, I guess I was thinking this was a pretty cut and dried one.
Okay,
And,
all right,
I would like to go ahead and proceed with it because
okay,
I don't want
all
to
right.
hold up 187 new people coming into our city.
Okay,
And
that's fine.
Mr. President, I could not agree with Counselor Abbott more on this item. This is something we've been working on this for, I don't know how long, but a long, long time, it seems like. The developers went to a great deal of effort dealing with different departments within the city. And so I hope that we can proceed with this today.
Okay, all right. Counselor Hoyt, you good with that one on this particular item?
Yeah, well, they have spoken.
All righty, well, let's move forward. Can we have a presentation by Mr. Gambrell and also by the developers?
1 second, Council President Parker.
Okay,
Let me do the public hearing portion of this so that they know that they
okay,
can speak to this item. This is a public hearing item. Any persons who wish to speak for or against this item may do so by joining the meeting of the full council using the link provided on your agenda. Please use the hand raise function on WebEx to request to speak to this agenda item. The audio conference number is 1-415-655-0002, and the access code is 187-167-7746. If you are calling via telephone, please press *3 to request to speak to this agenda item. Thank you, sir.
okay. Good morning, Mr. Gambrell, again.
Morning. My name is Tim Gambrell. I serve as the chief planner for the city of Birmingham. And this is KZAC 2020-27 in the Overton neighborhood. And it is a proposal to develop a new 187 unit residential development. The subject properties are 29.9 acres currently located outside the city limits of Birmingham. The adjacent property to the west of this site is Zone QD5 qualified multi-dwelling district. To the north, it is currently outside of the city of Birmingham, and to the south and east, it is also outside of the city limits of Birmingham. The applicant currently has an application for annexation into the city of Birmingham subsequent to and contingent upon rezoning of these properties. The applicant's proposal is to develop a low-density multifamily development that incorporates a new urbanism-style neighborhood with 187 units connected with sidewalks, pedestrian-friendly features that create a true sense of community. This proposed property is outside the city limits of Birmingham, and the city's long-range land use plan identifies the adjacent property as residential medium. This land use category allows for a mix of single and two-family homes, townhomes, small apartment buildings. In addition, schools, churches, and neighborhoods serving public uses are allowed. The proposed rezoning request would be consistent with the city's long-range land use plan that is adjacent to the proposed rezoning request. The applicant's site plan shows a total of 328 parking spaces for the proposed 187 units. The actual requirement is 235. The applicant meets the parking requirements. The additional spaces as proposed should comply with engineering guidelines for excessive parking spaces. When a development includes parking in excess of the maximum, pervious paving systems are required for those spaces that exceed the maximum allowed. The applicant plans to annex the subject properties into the city limits of Birmingham as requested that the properties be pre-zoned. Alabama Code 115285 authorizes the pre-zoning of property proposed for annexation before it is annexed. This act was adopted in 2009 and changed the policy of the state, which previously required property to annex into a municipality prior to any action on the zoning of the property. The act was included as part of the legislative package of the Alabama Legal Municipalities for 2009. Pre-zoning property prior to annexation relieves uncertainty for owner, developer, and municipality. The pre-zoning has no legal effect if the property is not annexed. Any portion of the property that has not completed annexation within 180 days of the zoning action loses that pre-zoning and remains unchanged in the jurisdiction where the property lies. There is an attached set of recommendations for these sites based on a solicitation of the planning department to other departments within the city. That item is attached for your review. The Overton Neighborhood Association held an executive meeting on December 4, 2020, and voted to approve the rezoning request 2-0. The property is not located within the Northeast Framework Plan area because it's outside the city. However, the adjacent properties to the west of this location are, and the Northwest Framework Plan area does have an implementation committee. Co-chair Frank Canby of the Northwest Framework Plan Implementation Committee reviewed the proposed rezoning request and supports this development. The Zoning Advisory Committee met at its regular scheduled meeting on Tuesday, April 20th of 2021 and voted to recommend approval of the applicant's pre-zoning territory proposed for annexation with the same Q conditions as recommended by staff, which include development shall comply with the Birmingham Waterworks Board, Cahaba River Lake Purdy Watershed Protection Policy, and all undeveloped areas abutting Lee Branch shall remain undisturbed as a buffer for that stream. The Planning and Zoning Committee met at its regular scheduled meeting on Wednesday, April 21st, 2021, and voted to recommend approval of the applicant's application to pre-zone territory proposed for annexation with the same Q conditions as mentioned. And that completes the report.
Thank you, Mr. Gambriel. Do we have the developers who are present? I know this is a pre-zoning. So do we have developers?
Should.
Yes, ma'am. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, if you go ahead and state your name and just give us more information, make a presentation to the council regarding the project. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Council President Pro Tem and council members. My name is Charlie Beavers. My address is 4301 Dolly Ridge Road, Birmingham, 35243. It is my pleasure to be here, a part of this presentation on behalf of Capstone Property or Communities. Capstone is the contract purchaser for the property. The purchase is contingent upon it being zoned and annexed into the city of Birmingham, and that's of course why we're in this process. I have with me, who will be participating in the presentation, Jim Beatty, who is Vice President of Capstone Communities. Also, Mark Gonzalez, who is our civil engineer with Gonzalez Strength Associates. We also have Scott Skipper with Skipper Consulting, who is our traffic engineer, and also Eric Wadsworth with Niket Architectural, who's the architect for the development. All of these folks will be available to answer any questions that the council might have, and we'll, if it please the council, have a part in the presentation. We're gratified that we've received the support of the neighborhood community, the framework committee, zoning advisory committee, planning and zoning committee of this council, and the positive recommendation from the staff. We've worked long and hard to get to this point, and we're grateful for that support and grateful to be here. If I may, I would like to ask, who is in the room with me here, Jim Beatty, Vice President of Development for Capstone, to begin the introduction of his company and the development.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Again, this is Jim Beatty, and I'm with Capstone, and we've got a presentation we'd like to share. If you can see it on the screen, if y'all can just confirm that.
We do. It's present. Thank you.
Okay, great. I'll try to run through this fairly quickly, introduce a couple team members, but I just wanted to kind of reemphasize what Charlie said. We just appreciate everyone's time and the support and enthusiasm that we've received from the city of Birmingham. As we start this presentation, I would like to point out that each of the slideshows you see have different photos from various developments that Capstone has done across the nation. So these are all actual photos of kind of the design and quality of the work that we will be bringing to Birmingham. We're excited. We're a Birmingham-based company. We're glad to be working here in our backyard. We've done 2 developments in the past. Both have been not-for-profit. One was the Cottages of Lakeshore, which supported Wounded Warriors at the Lakeshore Foundation. And the other was the Hope Cottages, and that was at Glenwood, and that allows full-time housing for kids and adults with autism. So we're glad to be back here in Birmingham now and developing once again. As I mentioned, we're Birmingham based. We've developed all across the country. One thing unique to Capstone is that we develop ourselves in-house. We also manage our properties in-house, and we're our own construction company. So we do all three here in-house, and at this particular project, we would have on-site management of 3 full-time employees and 2 full-time maintenance employees to make sure that the community stays pristine. So the big question is, what drew us back to Birmingham? So along this 119, 280 corridor, you're seeing a lot of growth, both commercial, retail, the current housing options in the community. We're seeing extremely high rents, high occupancy. So that's just a kind of a clear indication that there's a demand for, more housing options. And so what we're seeing across the nation is this nationwide trend towards rental housing. You're seeing a lot more renters by choice, and this option just currently doesn't exist in Birmingham. So we're excited to bring this 187, 189 unit development back to Birmingham. What this would look like would be individual cottages, townhomes, some carriage houses over garages. They would each have their individual private fenced backyards with artificial turf for low maintenance. You would see inner working sidewalks and amenity spaces. So it looks and feels just like a residential neighborhood. And if you didn't know it, you would never know that you're actually renting one of these homes. And Niket Architecture and Design will speak more to that in a minute. But for this particular community, I think coming out of COVID, what we're seeing across the country and in other developments is people have spent a lot of time at home. They're starting to put a lot more thought into that. And what does that look like? Okay, I don't want someone above me or below me. I want to spend a little time outdoors. So I've got my private backyard where I could grill, throw a football, read a book, and just feel like when you're at home, you've got a little bit more space to stretch out. And then what does this kind of target market look like? Well, what we're seeing is, this probably wouldn't have a big impact on Birmingham City Schools because we're seeing more young professionals transfer residents to Birmingham who may want to see where it is they want to live if they buy a home. And then a lot of empty nesters who like the idea of having a home but don't want to keep up with the maintenance. And so, as I mentioned, we've got our full team, Charlie Beavers, who just gave the introduction. We've got Niket Architecture Design, Gonzalez Strength, Civil Engineering, and then Skipper Consulting is our traffic consultant. And just wanted to throw a couple quick highlights of, I'm sure a lot of you have kind of seen the headlines in the news lately about this new trend in housing rental. So just put a couple up on the board. One, article was recently written about a top-rated master plan community, a Forbes article, and Capstone's community was actually featured in that, and that's in Summerville, South Carolina. And so with that, I'll turn it over to Eric Wadsworth. Eric's with Niket Architecture and Design. He can talk a little bit about the site location and the actual property and development.
Hello, everyone. I'm Eric Wadsworth with Niket Architecture and Design. Our address is 2227 2nd Avenue North in Birmingham. You can see here, this is just a vicinity map of the property that we're talking about. The intersection of 280 and 119 has the Tattersall development that's in the city of Hoover, where it says Publix, Walk-Ons, Brookwood Baptist, etc. Go up 119 a little bit further, you get to St. Vincent's 119, and then you see Capstone's logo there with the label site location. And so that's the piece of property that we're talking about right now. A little bit closer look, you can see the outlook at Greystone Apartments is in the city of Birmingham's apartment community just across the street, just across 119. We've labeled on here, there's nearly a quarter of a mile of space between our buildings and the Greystone neighborhood that we back up to across the preserved nature space and floodway that would be left unchanged in between. Getting into our site plan in a little bit more detail, our site planning follows traditional neighborhood design principles. From the entry court in the southwest corner, you can see we have a clubhouse, amenity clubhouse with a pool, a network of private streets and alleys around the site, and a variety of building types. The teal color is our larger units. That's the 3-bed unit. We'll look at some unit plans later. The narrower buildings that are a little bit deeper, darker blue are townhouse buildings. The two shades of brown are 1 and 2 bed cottages, sometimes standalone, sometimes in duplex form. And then we have a couple other different types of 1 bed units. You can see down the alley that goes from east to west in the center of the site, there are some of the carriage units with garage spaces. All of these units have private backyards, like Jim mentioned earlier, and also front porches. This is a video of a similar neighborhood. I hope it's not too choppy to watch over the web service. You can see a similar network of streets and alleys, the backyards that each of them might have. Well, this is hard to narrate when it's choppy like this. Intentional green spaces, we have those also on the plan that we were looking at earlier. Let's see. We use a variety of building types and elevations as we move around the site to create a unique feel for the neighborhoods. And so when you might see in the site plan some similar looking buildings next to each other, we do change the way those buildings look as you're moving down the street to give it just that variety, that varied appearance. And it's kind of finish on this clubhouse view and pool, which will be very similar to the one we'll have at this project also. All right. Thank you. So you can see here the list of amenities. We've already discussed a lot of these. The intention is to build a top quality rental option for people that don't have a lot of options currently in town between an expensive home to purchase or an apartment to rent. And so this is, you know, we have private outdoor yards and patios. We already talked about 9 to 12 foot or even higher in some cases. Ceilings, vaulted ceilings in all the public spaces, or, you know, the living and the kitchen space in the units. We have on-site management with valet trash. I'm not going to read the whole list to you, but there is a lot of amenitization that happens in all of these capstone communities. We're going to go through a few of the unit plans quickly. This is just a sampling. There are elevation varieties for each of these buildings that we talked about over the video. And there's also some plans that aren't represented here just for sake of brevity. But this is the 2-bed cottage represented. And it's got the front porch and the private yard. We talked about 4 sides with windows. In contrast to an apartment, you've got 3 if it's in a duplex, but still a lot of glass for the residents here. Vaulted living and kitchen, large master suite. You can see across the top of the floor plan. This is a townhouse. This is shown in the 2-unit configuration, which may exist on this site plan. There's going to be various permutations and elevations of this particular unit on this site. Spacious living and kitchen areas, master suite, in this case, is upstairs. A 3-bed cottage. So this is a special unit. It's got a full front porch and balcony, and we use it to terminate views around the site. Also has a very large living and kitchen space, spacious laundry and closets for the people who need more space for their family. This is a sample clubhouse plan here. A fitness center, on-site management offices. Jim mentioned that it will be permanently staffed. Lounge and game spaces associated with the adjacent pool. This is a image of some of the community amenities that Capstone has provided in the past, and they often include park structures, grilling areas, fire pits. You can also see some interior clubhouse images from past projects. The level of quality seen here is the intention on this project also.
Thank you, Eric. We would like next to have just a couple of minutes from our civil engineer, Mark Gonzalez, to address a couple of engineering items.
Go ahead, thank you.
Hello, my name is Mark Gonzalez, Gonzalez Strength and Associates, 1550 the Woods River, Chasing River, Alabama. Real quickly on site plan, this is our site plan, the one that we're perfecting right now for submission to the city and approval of. On it, we comply with the zoning that's been requested. We do not foresee or have any intentions right now of submitting any variances on this project. We can comply with the zoning that we have requested. As you can see on the site, all we will be developing of the site is what I call the western half of frontage on Highway 119. That's 14.4 acres. The other 15.5 acres of the site will remain natural in the back. When you look at the site, you see a lot of housetops and a lot of parking lots, but you also see a lot of green space on the site. Of the developed portion, only 6.12 acres of that will remain pervious grass and landscaped areas scattered throughout the site, and which results in an overall density or impervious ratio of 21%. And if you discount the area behind the creek to the east of the creek, that'd be 57% impervious is what we're going to do. The development does recognize the Birmingham Waterworks Lake Purdy watershed guidelines. We comply with the buffer, the water quality, and best practice management practices that are stipulated in there. We will adhere to a 25-foot undisturbed buffer immediately adjacent to the stream on the west side, and on the back side, clearly in excess of 100 foot as kind of stipulated by the Birmingham Waterworks. Further, we do vary from the 100-foot variant or buffer requirement in the Birmingham Waterworks for about 220 feet of the stream bed. It varies from 100 to 70, but for that area, we will implement engineering calculations and demonstrate that the projected measures of equal to or greater than are being utilized as allowed by Section 4.1 of the policy. Stormwater pond that you see on the back side of the site has been designed so that it does incorporate water quality standards as the Birmingham Waterworks. And finally, the BMP for this site will be submitted to ADM as well as the city of Birmingham. It will comply with both ADM and the city of Birmingham's BMP requirements and post-BMP requirements. And we will provide proof of that ADM permit to the city as a part of the permitting process. With that, I'll turn it over to Scott Skipper.
Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Skipper. Thank you.
Scott Skipper with Skipper Consulting. We're at 3644 Birmingham, Alabama. 3644 Van Road, Birmingham, Alabama. We're the traffic consultant for the project. We conducted the traffic study based on the guidelines of the Alabama Department of Transportation, as this Alabama 119 is a state highway, as well as the city of Birmingham Department of Transportation. For access to the property, would be with the driveway that's introduced onto Alabama Highway 119, it'd be a right turn lane northbound and a left turn lane southbound. So any traffic entering the development would not impede any other traffic on Alabama Highway 119. We have to do so in the turn lanes and not in the through lanes. The traffic study, as I said, was done to meet the ALDOT and City of Birmingham Department of Transportation requirements. Both have reviewed and both have concurred with the findings of the study and the recommendations of the study. And ALDOT has actually issued us a letter stating that they are satisfied with the results of the study with the intent to permit the access. Obviously, they'll be doing a review of permit drawings and everything that Gonzalez Strength will be preparing. I believe that's about it that I have for you this morning. Thank you.
Thank you. Is that the full presentation?
Yes, ma'am. Just in summary, this development has been vetted out extensively with the planning staff at the city. It has actually been vetted out to a degree with the Waterworks Board and will comply with the watershed policy, even though it's not subject to the watershed covenants. We've agreed to do that to protect that watershed. We have a huge distance between these homes and the nearest homes to the right of that of your screen there, which are in Greystone, over 1,000 feet of distance with vegetation and preserved areas between them. We've made sure that the design is such that the traffic on 119 will not be impeded with turn lanes and the like coming in and out of this development. We think it's a wonderful development for the area, and we're excited to bring it to Birmingham and appreciate the support we've gotten thus far forward. And that concludes our presentation, but we're happy to answer any questions that any might have, man. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm just appreciative to Capstone Communities for the thoroughness and the detail in the presentation. Quite often, we're left with certain questions remaining, especially in regards to traffic and ADEM. So thank you for putting all that information together for us. This is a public hearing. Before we turn it over to the public for their comments, I would like to ask any counselors if you have any questions, and Ms. Garner, you'll alert us in the chat if we have anyone that has raised their hand or dialed in to speak from the public. So counselors, any questions for Capstone Communities?
Madam Pro Tem,
Yes.
this is Hunter Williams. You know, I want to thank both Jim Beatty and Capstone and their attorney, Charlie Beavers, for the work that they did on this. I know I've been with them on a lot of these meetings, and this has been something that is a long time coming. It is always great when the city of Birmingham can add residences to our city. I think that one thing that we've noted is over the past 30 years, the city of Birmingham has consistently lost residences, and we're kind of seeing that turnaround. And so I'm very thankful for them to both be willing to include this in the city of Birmingham, as well as what you just stated, Madam Pro Tem. Their thoroughness in planning this development is second to none. So thank you all to your team at Capstone, Mr. Beavers, Skipper, Niket, all you guys have done an awesome job. So thank y'all very much for working with us on this.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Any other comments or questions from other counselors?
Yes, Madam President.
Yes, Mr. Hoyt, go ahead.
Yeah, well, and I think this was a great presentation. I think there was much thought put into this. And I just wish that when developers come to Hensley, that they had this same thought pattern, because what we've been given is less than par. And so I want to commend Capstone. And anytime you want to come to Hensley, please come, because this is how development should look and should dictate. And, you know, what we get given is boxes and, you know, no yards, no nothing, just build, you know. And so there's some thought that's gone into this. So I appreciate them making their presentation this morning.
I'm going to agree with you, Mr. Hoyt, and echo your sentiments as well. That's why I brought the mention of the traffic study. So often I've seen developers come into District 7 and some of these thoughts haven't been put in place, and it actually holds them up because they haven't considered this. And so we want these full livable type communities as well throughout the city. So thank you for the comments. Any other counselors have any questions for Capstone? Having none, Ms. Garner, do we have anyone from the public that has requested to speak?
No, ma'am, I do not see anyone from the public that is currently requested.
All right, thank you very much. Well, at this time, Mr. Clerk, we will turn it back for a vote. I believe we have a motion and a second. So we'll call for the vote.
Member Abbott,
Aye.
Councilmember Hilliard,
Aye.
Councilmember Hoyt,
Yes.
Councilmember O'Quinn,
Yes.
Councilmember O'Quinn, Councilmember Smith.
Yes.
Okay.
Aye.
Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Williams, Councilmember Williams,
Aye.
Councilmember Woods. Councilmember Woods. Council President Pro Tem Alexander.
Aye.
Council President Parker.
Aye.
And that item moves, and I'll turn it back over to Mr. President.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Looks like we're going to 24. Item 24.
And if you'll call up the, I think there were some other items as well besides 24. You can call them up.
What would that be? Addendum items?
Yes, sir, I think.
Okay,
Okay.
item 24.
Mr. President, we did pull 27 and 28 off consent, so those will come up as well. Sorry.
Okay, I understand. Yeah, but 24, I think there's a companion that goes with the 24. I think the two addendum items, I think will go with 24 if I'm not mistaken. Is that right, Mr. Mitchell?
That's correct.
Okay.
Item 24, an ordinance to further amend the COVID state and local fiscal recovery fund budget for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2021 by appropriating $70,636,177 to Magic City Recovery Plan per funds received from the American Rescue Plan. Let's see. Let's go to the end here. It will be 74. An ordinance authorize the mayor to submit an allocation in an amount not to exceed $16,836,631 out of the American Rescue Plan Act to respond to the public health emergency caused by COVID-19 or the economic effects from COVID-19. And 75, a resolution authorized the mayor to 1, execute any and all documents required for the city to receive funds pursuant to the Section 603 of the American Rescue Plan Act from the United States Department of the Treasury to respond to the public health emergency caused by COVID-19 or the economic effects from COVID-19. Said funds should be used by the city consistent with the terms of the act, specifically to provide aid to households, small businesses, and nonprofits, to provide aid to affect industries such as tourism, travel, and hospitality, to eligible workers, to cover the loss of revenue due to COVID-19, and to invest in water, sewer, or broadband infrastructure, and no matching funds are due from the city, and 2, to take any and all actions and execute such documents as appropriate and necessary to accept and spend the funds on behalf of the city in accordance with the act.
I move approval.
Second.
Is this a consent item?
No, sir, this is to bring the items up for discussion now.
Okay.
It's just now, we just did that, so now we can have a discussion on these items.
Okay, the item is before you, Council. Items, sorry.
Okay. Good morning, Chief. Good morning, Mr. Mitchell.
Council, I'm trying to see if Kelvin Datcher is on to present this item to the council, and I don't see him.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. And why
Thank you,
y'all
Ms.
trying to
Abbott, for
find-
recognizing me. I appreciate you, Ms. Abbott.
Mr. Thatcher, how are you, sir?
And good morning, council. Good morning, Ms. President. Good morning, Ms. Abbott, because you were, Chaz didn't see me, but you did. We appreciate council's consideration this morning. As you all know, during the very difficult conversations leading up to the current fiscal year's budget, there was some real sacrifices being made by city employees. Over the last several 15 or so months during the pandemic, we have seen unprecedented service, unprecedented sacrifice by our city employees. Earlier this year, President Biden led and ultimately signed the American Rescue Plan, which provided funds directly for every city, county, and state in America. The first stimulus bill in response to COVID-19 to do that. One of the items, one of the allowances of that bill was to respond to workers providing essential services during the COVID-19 public health emergency by providing premium pay to eligible workers. The mayor has always said that if ever possible and as soon as possible, he would do whatever he could to support our city workers. He made that pledge to you all. He made that pledge to our employees. And this morning, we are pleased to put forward the mayor's recommendations for premium pay for every full-time and every part-time employee of the city of Birmingham, and the amounts of $5,000 for each full-time employee and $2,500 for each part-time employee. Because these sacrifices by our employees were made this fiscal year, the mayor is requesting and recommending that they be able to be, that our support is manifest this fiscal year. So if there are any particular questions, these funds would come from the city's allocation of the first half of our American Rescue Plan dollars that we have already received. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. We have a team of folks who can provide support and any answers to your inquiries at this time.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I know you can't see my, face. So I hijacked somebody else's computer.
Okay, all right, go ahead, Mr. Mayor. You can do that. How you doing?
Mr. President, Madam Pro Tem, and to the council, let me just say I'm grateful to each of you all. I genuinely mean that for being receptive to this conversation. So I don't have to repeat anything Mr. Datcher said. We'll just turn it over to you to guide us on any questions you may have. But just want to reiterate, I'm extremely grateful to this council for being open to this discussion.
Mr. President.
Okay, okay. All right, Dr. Quinn, you want to start us off?
Sure. Yeah. I just want to ask the mayor to remind us of some of the things that have occurred over the past fiscal year or the current fiscal year that we're in. So, few questions. So please remind me how many unpaid vacation days that employees under normal circumstances would have gotten compensated for. Please speak to employees that may have requested vacation of the demands, the needs, were unable to take that vacation. Please speak to COLA, longevity, merit, and any other benefits that employees might have received in a normal fiscal year. So I know that was a lot, and I can repeat it if necessary, but I just wanted to have you remind us about those issues.
Mr. Datcher, do you want to?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was on mute. I apologize.
Okay.
My bad. I was steadily talking, Dr. O'Quinn. I apologize. Those are great points to remind the public of the hardships our employees face. Our employees for the 18 budget, the 19 budget, and the 20 budget all received, they received COLA, merit, longevity. They were able to exercise their vacation hours that they were eligible for. They had their vacation days with pay. The 21 budget was something out of this world because of fewer taxes coming in, revenue coming in. Therefore, our employees who make up the majority of our expenditures also receive the brunt of the cuts. I'm reminded, our employees are definitely reminded that in this fiscal year that ends June 30th, that they did not receive COLA, cost of living adjustment. They did not receive merit. That they did not receive longevity pay. In addition to that, I believe that Jill can correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Nadajic, 12 vacation days, they did not get paid for 9 of them, as well as our police officers, our firefighters, as well as our public works employees, who were literally on the front line every day at the height of the pandemic and every day since then. I've not been in a position related to use their vacation hours due to the state of emergency we were in. So even a part of that, eligible, we believe that eligible employees, we're developing a program for voluntary buyout for excess vacation hours not being used. That's how important this is. So we're talking about a significant burden on our employees. And even saying it to you, it's hard to even say it out loud because I know how much of a burden it's been on our employees. I hope that answers your question, Doctor.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, there. Yes, ma'am, I can't. Is it Councilor Smitherman?
Yes.
Okay.
I have some questions,
How you
but
doing?
Councilor Abbott Asco next, I think.
Okay, Councilor Abbott. I'm sure we'll probably go through and everyone will talk about some of their items as well. Councilor Abbott, you want to go next, and then we'll circle around Councilor Smitherman, and then we'll.
Thank you. Well, I think that we have very deserving employees that worked hard. I think that we owe this to them. I mean, without the employees, the city is pretty much nothing. We have a lot of land, but if you don't have any services, nobody wants to live here. So I just, my hat goes off to the employees. And I know I had a conversation with a public works employee who told me that he hasn't had a day off since last year when the pandemic was announced, and that he was just worn out, and his only complaint was that there were employees who hadn't been working hard who would also get this. And I said, life isn't fair. That's one thing my father beat into my head. Life isn't fair, but it's better for everyone to get something than for no one to get something. So, we have to do what we have to do. But my question is, we have a lot of employees who are laid off, and I want to know if all those part-time employees have now been brought back to work so that they can share in this opportunity. Because if you got laid off completely, you not only didn't get any holiday pay or vacation pay, you didn't get anything except unemployment maybe. So I just want to ask, are all of our employees back at work now, and will they all be treated fairly?
Ms. Abbott, out of 3,500 employees, everyone is back with the exception of 4 employees, and then all of those employees who are back will also and will receive this payment as well.
So we still have four employees who haven't been brought back, and everybody else is back?
Ms. Abbott, those 4 employees haven't been brought back for different personnel reasons. I imagine we would have to go into a whole different meeting to discuss personnel matters.
Oh, no, thank you.
I can assure you those 4 employees, and Ms. Medazik can speak to this if she wants, were not brought back for various personnel reasons.
Okay. Well, I just want to make sure that we treat everyone with some kind of assistance, since we have people who are getting no paycheck whatsoever.
Yes, ma'am. Everyone will be treated the same.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President. Madam President.
I don't see Mr. Parker available, but I'm ready to go now.
Thank you.
I think Councilor Smitherman, you were next.
Yes, Madam President, thank you.
Thank you.
I want to ask, when will this payment kick in? What pay period will they get this lump sum?
We would like for this to be for the month of the fiscal year ends June 30th. The last pay period is June 18th. Miss Amelia Muller is on this call, who's been leading in this effort. If she would like to speak to this question with any more detail, Miss Amelia, feel free, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I will defer to Ms. Medazik on this point.
Okay.
Thank you. So I have been in conversations with payroll, and this money will either be paid after approval from the PBJC on either the 18th or the 25th. There is some indication from the payroll department that it would be easier if this were made as a separate payroll than as part of the regular payroll on the 18th, but we are still working through that, but it will be paid no later than the 25th.
Okay, thank you. And then one last question. The amount that you set out, Mayor Woodfin, will we have any excess money left over, or will we have all that money go to the employees?
The city of Birmingham is receiving 70 million in this, 70 plus million in this first round of CARES funding. So there will be a large amount of federal money left over.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the amount of money that you're taking out to pay with the premium payment. Is that the exact amount that's needed to, it is, Chaz? Okay.
Oh,
Yes, it's the exact amount.
Okay,
Yes,
thank
ma'am.
you.
Yeah, I don't know, we're not, by your vote, we're not allowed to take out any access. It's only 100% for the employees.
Okay, I was just making sure. I
Yes.
think this is great. Our employees deserve the best. I know this council has been advocating for the employees since day one. I just want to make sure that we continue to take care of our employees during this pandemic. And I look forward to seeing what myself and the rest of my colleagues will propose for the rest of the American Rescue Plan money. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Smitherman. We'll go around to each councilor that would like to speak to this item. Do we have any other councilors?
Yes, Councilor Hilliard, I have my hand up.
Yes, sir, Mr. Hilliard, I didn't see your hand. Go ahead.
All right. Well, you do see my hand up, though. Is it up on that screen? I'm just curious, because I can see it. You went on mute on me, but I would like to say to my colleagues, to the mayor of the city, I think this is an excellent way to be able to be in a position to reward our citizens in our public works community for the things they've done. Public works have been hit extremely hard throughout this pandemic. And a lot of times, they get the complaints and the issues and the problems, but we know too that a lot of them suffered from the pandemic, stress, and a whole lot of other things that they just didn't have at their fingertips. So this is an excellent way to give back to our city employees, public works, and so many others that have sacrificed. I am so happy to be at this time and place, move this farther along. I personally don't think our work stops here. I think that we have other work cut out for us to do to continue to help encourage our citizens to get their vaccination shots, to actually be safe. I represent a district where my constituents are older, and even the younger ones deserve an opportunity for us to push them and give them every available tool to help them along the way. So as we pass this and push this into the future, I want to get back in some of the talks I've had with my council president. He's not on now, but hopefully he will address some of the things we've been just kind of tossing around that's been going throughout the country that we could bring to Birmingham and move ahead to help our citizens. So to the mayor, to my council and my colleagues, this is a very defining moment to be a part of this Birmingham City Council. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Hilliard. Any other councilors? I apologize, but I don't see your hands raised. Well, I would like to take the opportunity also to, I'm very excited to be able to offer this premium pay to our workers who not only suffered professionally, but suffered some personal loss in some of the decisions that we had to make as far as our revenue and fighting the fight and maintaining city services during COVID-19. So again, I'm grateful to have the opportunity for this relief money and that we can use it in this fashion. Similar to Councilor Smitherman, I know that we've had several councilors already that have given suggestions of what we can do with the additional funds. So I also encourage each councilor to provide that list so that we can go through it and we can provide that information to the mayor, because this is a great opportunity for the city of Birmingham. Some of this can be a game changer for a lifetime of disparity and opportunity that we have not been able to bring to our neighborhoods and to our communities. So again, I'm grateful. And this is just a huge thank you to those staff. I do have one question, and I actually know the answer, but I just want to, for the record, I did have a question this morning if library employees were included in this list. And I believe I looked back over the resolution and it did include them. But I just wanted that clarification. And that's my only other comment. Thank you.
That's confirmed, Madam Pro Tem. Librarians will receive as well.
Thank you. And I do see Mr. President on the screen, so I'll turn it back to you, Mr. President.
He's on mute.
Somehow out at the Dunn Hawkins Center, and somehow we lost some communication. So I apologize. I went offline. But anyway, but I think I heard Councilor Smithman. I think I came back on towards the end of hers, mentioned about the everyone's project. Is that? And I was just trying to get a summary of what has been happening. Councilor Smithman, did you just make some comments? What were they?
Oh yeah, I just made a comment. I look forward to for us proposing our ideas. That's it.
Okay. All right. Okay. That was all. All right. With that, has everyone spoken? Council Hoyt, everyone's good. Before I wrap it up.
Good. Just from a historical standpoint, I just think that where we were back in September when the mayor proposed to cut the employees, and to think that now we have an opportunity to correct what had been proposed and the council voted on. I didn't. There's several of us who didn't vote on that. But I just want to remind folk that we've come a long ways, and I'm in favor of providing this for our employees, especially Kevin Datcher. He looked like he needed a little something.
All right. Thank you, Council Hoyt. Are there others? Any other comments from anybody before we wrap this up? I will say before we move to vote, we have been circulating plans, thoughts and ideas. And so if everyone can have those in, the initial ones in by Friday, that would be helpful. And also I sent out an email this morning, which is a citywide plan that will address some of the items that Councilor Hilliard mentioned about how do we make sure we get our vaccination numbers up from 35. I think Councilor Abbott mentioned last week it was around 35%. How do we get up to herd immunity at 70%? And so anyway, I submitted a presentation on having a vaccine lottery. And and the price tag on that would be up to 13 million, but that's to make sure that residents receive one-time gift card, and also we are able to provide scholarships for our youth from 12 to 17. So anyway, I submitted that information. We'll talk more about it, and the next week or two, we'll be asking the council for support on it as we move forward. So just a little tidbit. But with that, Mr. Clerk, we're ready to vote on items 24 and the 2 addendum items.
That would be 74 as well as 75. Councilmember Abbott.
Aye.
Councilmember Hilliard.
Aye.
Councilmember Hoyt.
Indubitably, yes.
Councilmember O'Quinn.
Yes.
Councilmember Smitherman.
Aye.
Councilmember Williams. Councilmember Williams. Councilmember Woods.
Yes.
Councilmember, okay. Councilmember Woods, were you present on the last vote? I'm just asking for.
No, sir. I stepped out on the previous vote.
Thank you, sir. Council President Pro Tem Alexander.
Aye.
Council President Parker.
Aye. Okay. Congratulations, those items. Next item, Spark.
Mr. President.
Yes.
Sorry. Before you go to the next item, I apologize. Just want to publicly say to you, to Madam Pro Tem, and to the entire council, thank you all so much.
Yes, sir.
All right, go to item 25.
Sorry, did somebody else say anything? Hold on. Mr. Mayor, was that Eric? Just,
Yes, sir. That was it. That was it, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Item 25, an ordinance approving and authorizing the mayor to execute a contract for sale of real estate between the city of Birmingham and Eric Delt, under which Eric Delt will purchase certain vacant real estate located at 2915 Avenue R, Birmingham, 35208, for the assessed value of $2,700. This is an item of permanent operation. In order to pass it today, I need UC first. I need unanimous consent to pass it.
Consent. Move for unanimous consent.
Second.
Okay, so we have Ms. Abbott and Pro Tem Alexander and Ms. Abbott. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All
No.
opposed? Okay.
No.
All right, so we'll move on to item number 27. Item 27, a resolution authorizing the execution and delivery of a master governmental lease purchase agreement number 16080 and supplement number 1, supplement number 2, and supplement number 3. There are two related documents with Lease Servicing Center Incorporated doing business as NCL Government Capital, and an escrow agreement with Lease Servicing Center Incorporated doing business as NCL Government Capital NBOKF NA with respect to the acquisition, purchase, financing, and leasing of certain equipment for police, fire, and public works uses at an estimated total cost of $17,470,470 $470,458.21. And this is just a regular item. Motion, please.
Move the item.
Second.
All right, item is before you.
Yes.
All righty.
Mr. President.
Yes, sir. I was gonna ask the administration to give a presentation, but go ahead.
Okay, that's
Go
what
ahead,
I
go ahead.
need.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. No, that's what I wanted.
Okay. All right, Chief or Mr. Mitchell.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Good morning, sir. So you're right. Deputy Chief Chaz Mitchell and Attorney Jim Stanley will be the ones presenting this item. Deputy Chief.
All right.
Sir, thank you, Chief Sparks. And Mr. President, right now before the council is a lease agreement that we're trying to accomplish. To give you a little backstory, the city has I wouldn't say an issue with our fleet, but our fleet is very old and antiquated. The last time we had a large purchase of any type of equipment was done back in the Langford administration back in 2009. So if you take those 12 years of time being passed and just kind of this piecemeal and buying certain type of equipment outright, our equipment is not up to par to where we need to be to, take the calls of the community and of the council and of the mayor. So before the council is what we're trying to do is stretch our money a little bit longer by instead of making outright purchases, we'll make these purchases over a certain amount of years. So we have 3 funding mechanisms. It's a 10-year lease, a 7-year lease, and a 3-year lease. The 10-year lease pretty much covers anything dealing with our public works department and our landfill, buying limb loaders so we can have a limb loader in each district, dump trucks, certain things that I have the list that was in your package. We have some refuse trucks, a brush truck, a limb truck, some sweepers, and some tandem dump trucks that will be split upon all the different districts. Of course, you know that the public works department is broken out into 4 districts: north, south, east, and west. So that falls under the 7-year lease. And in total, that will cost the city $6 million. With over the annual cost, it will cost $966,000. Next lease is the second one. It's a 10-year lease that will basically touch our fire department and our Birmingham Police Department. Majority of the things that we purchase in this 10-year lease will deal with the fire department. We'll purchase 9 pumpers and 2 rescue units and 1 quint and an air unit. And then the larger purchase out of this 10-year equipment will be a mobile command unit that we need for the Birmingham Police Department once we start having the World Games and much larger events that we can have an updated mobile command unit. And then the last, well, let me break down that cost for the 10-year lease will be $10 million, and that annual cost will roughly be about $1.1 million. And then the last lease is a 3-year lease that will touch our BPD, where we'll be purchasing 20 fully outfitted Chevy Tahoes for our tactical unit, and that cost is around $1.2 million and will cost the city $442,000. So in total, the entire leasing package will cost us around $17 million, but the initial cost annualized will be $2.5 million, and we do have that budget in this proposed budget. If you see, I think it's on page around 100, I think it's a line item for roughly $4 million, and of that will go towards the lease, and then the remaining amount will go towards buying marked and unmarked police units. So that was kind of the short version of the entire document that's before the council. I have Jim Stanley that can talk about the legalese of the agreement if he had any questions about that. So I'll turn it back over to you, Mr. President.
Thank you. You have Mr. Stanley also. He's available. Council Hoyt, you want to start off?
Yeah, well, just want to know what is the fee to this particular company who's negotiating, I guess, on our lease agreement.
What was the first part of that? I didn't hear it, Council Hoyt.
Yeah, I was trying to see what is the fee of this company that's going to be negotiating this lease.
Okay. So council, I don't think it's a fee, because what we're doing is more of like a line of credit. So we're actually purchasing the equipment ourselves. So the fee that will, if not even a fee, it's just the interest that will be collected off from the actual lease will go towards the company. And this company was selected off a purchasing cooperative. So that's the way we procured this particular vendor.
Okay, so this is something they do every day with other municipalities.
Yes, sir. This is typical. But like I said in my opening statement, we have not done a lease to purchase in a long time. We just did outright purchasing. Like we're just trying to make our money stretch so we can get our equipment up to where it needs to be.
Okay. And you think this is the best approach?
Yes, sir, because this is a lease to purchase. So we will own this at the end of the term of the lease. And also this gives us the mechanism, once we pay off certain things, we can go back and procure more equipment that we know that we already need, in dire need of.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Mr. President.
Okay, were there other questions, comments
Mr.
from
President.
anybody?
Mr. President, this is Abbott.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I have I guess what's a pretty simple question. You know, we said we were buying a bunch of Tahoes for the police department. And I was just curious to know how that decision is made, because I only see one police officer driving around in a car. Every once in a while there are two. And we're buying these big tanks that get horrible gas mileage. Why are we buying such enormous vehicles for one person to drive around in? Are we ever going to load 6 or 8 people in the back?
Well, council, like I said,
and all their camping equipment? I mean.
So the leases, the Tahoes is really for our tactical units. So these units would not just have one police officer. It will be a number of them in the technical unit division of the Birmingham Police Department. So you shouldn't see just one person driving this unit. You should see I wouldn't say a workforce, but more than 2 or 3 in the Tahoe.
Okay.
That's why they're specifically going to the TAC unit.
Okay. You know, I have a camera on my phone.
Yes.
Well, thank you. I just wondered, because those big tanks are always running people off the road because they're so big they can't keep them on the lane. So, you know, but if they're filling them up with people and equipment, and I'll just be watching. You know, I'm out on the street.
Mr. President.
Okay, hold on. Ms. Abbott, are you finished with your questioning?
I am. Thank you.
Okay, yes, ma'am. All right, council, let's see if anybody else has something, and we'll come back to you. Are there other questions from other council members on this item?
You have a question?
Okay, let's go to Dr. Quinn, then we'll come back to you, Dr. Hoyt, Council Hoyt. All right, Dr. Quinn.
Yeah, so with this lease option, you mentioned that, with some of these that we would own them at the end of the lease. In my opinion, we have some equipment that we've held on for too long because we haven't had the capacity to replace it. And was thinking along the lines that the lease option would allow us to replace some of that equipment more frequently. Is that going to be the case?
Yes, that's the overall design of trying to do the lease to purchase. So those older equipment would definitely be reevaluated at the lease auction off, so we can get our money worth out of it and put that money towards the leasing option to procure more equipment. So we don't want to keep bad equipment in stock and keep spending money on our equipment management to repair them. We want to, phase those things out, auction them off, and just use those funds for certain other capital needs, especially when it comes to the fleet equipment.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
Okay, are there others? Okay, Council Hoyt.
Thank you for allowing me to speak, Mr. President. Well, I actually happen to drive a Tahoe, and they get good mileage, Madam President. I can get about 470 miles per tank, and some days 560. Just all depends. But we need to thank President Obama, who made these big car companies to make them more efficient when it comes to gasoline, because that's what some of the things that he did in his administration. And so these big cars, that's why so many buying them, is because they do get good mileage. That's it.
Okay. There any other questions? Anything else on this item? Okay. All right, Mr. Clark, I think we're ready.
Councilmember Abbott.
Aye.
Councilmember Hilliard.
Aye.
Councilmember Hoyt.
Yes.
Councilmember O'Quinn.
Yes.
Councilmember Smitherman. Councilmember Smitherman. Councilmember Williams. Councilmember Wood. Council President Pro Tem Alexander.
Aye.
Council President Parker.
Aye.
Can you check on Ms. Smitherman, Williams, and Woods for me right quick? I don't.
On.
The audio keeps going in and out.
Okay.
Councilmember Smitherman, Williams, Woods.
Okay. All right, we're gonna, okay, that item passes. Let's move on.
Okay. Next should be item 28. A resolution authorizing the city's authorized official to submit to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development a substantial amendment for the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act funds, and authorizing the city's authorized official to enter into necessary agreements with the CARES Act for the Community Development Block Grant Program and the Emergency Solutions Grant Program to acquire services authorized herein, sign grant agreements, sign the documents as may be required, and to carry out other essential functions relating thereto. Motion, please.
Second.
Was that Councilmember Abbott? And I got that Councilmember Quinn. Is that correct?
Yes.
Right. Item is before you.
Okay, morning, Chief.
Yes, sir. Mr.
Good
President,
morning.
Mr. Chris
Good
Hatcher.
afternoon, I should say. Good afternoon. I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. Mr. Chris Hatcher is on this piece of the item. Go ahead, Chris.
Thank you, Chief.
Council President Parker, Madam Pro Tem Alexander, and rest of the council. Chris Hatcher, I serve as Interim Director of Community Development. And the item before you this afternoon is the staff's recommendation for funding from our nonprofit solicitations for the HUD CARES Act allocations that we received from the federal government. Particularly in this round is CDBG and ESG. Once approved, we will submit to HUD for their approval. And once HUD approves, we will begin executing an agreement with our nonprofit partners to begin providing the needed service to our residents. And with that said, I'll turn it back over to you, Counselor, and I'm here to entertain any questions.
I apologize. I'm not sure if Mr. Parker lost connection again.
Okay.
Councilors, do you have any other questions or comments for Mr. Hatcher or anyone from administration regarding this item?
Yes, Madam President,
Yes,
where's the Rose Garden?
Where is the Rose Garden? I believe I don't have the actual address, but I believe it's in the East Lake community, I believe. Let me.
And what is the Community Care Development Network? What is that?
The Community Development Care Network is a nonprofit that will be providing food assistance, emergency food assistance, and utility assistance. It's a nonprofit organization within inside the city of Birmingham.
Okay, and who's the proprietor?
Excuse me?
Who runs that?
Let's see, Councilor Hoyt, I do not have that information right here in front of me, but I can definitely provide that to you.
Which organization was Mr. Hoyt you asked the question about? I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
That's the Community Care Development Network.
Gotcha. Okay.
I've never heard of them before.
Thank
and
you.
I just want to know why we're using them to implement such a program. And you got to hear for administration, staff salaries and supplies. What is that? I mean, who?
Yeah, staff administration that goes to pay some of the salaries of the workers that will be providing the assistance to our residents, plus supplies and PPE and things of that nature to implement the program.
Now, have we decided on what areas? Is this for the entire city of Birmingham, or just what?
This is the entire city of Birmingham, Councilor. We do not we do not segment out the population or areas of the city. If they are a resident of the city of Birmingham and they meet the threshold of 80% below median area income, if they're eligible, they will receive services.
Okay, and how are you going to market this? Because I don't think everybody is aware, and unless some people are aware and I'm not aware, then that can happen.
We're going to market it as a city. We place that responsibility on the entity, the organization itself. They have their own marketing campaign, but we will have that information on our website as far as how to contact or how to get in contact with these organizations regarding these services.
Mm-hmm. So we still don't know who runs the organization. We giving them almost $500,000. Well, more,
yes, sir. Yes, sir. We know who runs the organization. I just don't have the CEOs or who's over the organizations right here in front of me. Like I said, I can't provide that list to you. Or I can provide.
So if I could.
And that's some new, Mr. President, if I could finish, please.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And who is the HIP project?
Again,
Who
the
runs
HELP
that?
Project is an organization. They are responsible for doing, administering prison reentry programs to reduce recidivism of folks coming out of prison and helping them not to go back into prison.
And who is
And
this?
council,
Who's the
I mean,
CEO of that?
Mr. President,
For just a second, let me intervene for a second. Here's where I think we can get to a happy space with all of this. Council, I'm gonna help your questioning. I'm gonna help you in your questioning. I'm gonna help. If, as relates to the promotion, number one, if we could have that available for the city council's website as well, and then also if you could put together a packet of contact individuals as we go to neighborhood meetings, interacting with citizens. We're getting a lot of what do we do? We get a lot of those emails and questions. People call us, we have this going on. Who should we point of contact? So if we could get that for all of the different entities, even the AG Gaston, and just the little, we could put together and working with all the PIO teams, some type of packet of information, so we can distribute that to as on an ongoing basis. So as people call us, yeah.
Mr. President, it's Kelvin. I'll be happy to talk directly with the mayor to get that done. We'll have to work with the mayor to have that authorized and get that done. But as you see with emergency rental assistance, and we spent, I've been in Council Pro Tem's hip pocket over the last several weeks. We are urgently appreciate all the opportunities we can to partner with to co-promote these opportunities with our residents, with the members of the city council. So I'll work directly with the mayor to make sure we get that done.
Okay,
Mr. President,
and the mayor not, hold on, everybody's talking. Hold on.
But I had the floor and
I understand, Councilor Hoyt. I'm about to go back and give it back to you. I asked to continue on with the conversation. I'm going to recognize and give you back the floor. You're absolutely correct. What we'll do is we could, Mr. Datcher or the mayor, we can communicate over and get a plan to where we can all work together on providing this information, so that we have the information as well on the council side, and do as part of a marketing piece to make sure people know these services are available.
Mr. President.
Mr. Thatcher or Mr. And then we're going to go back to Mr. Hoyt, Councilor Hoyt. Councilor Hoyt.
Mr. President, there are at least 10 or more organizations that I'm unfamiliar with. And we don't have any information on it, but we, severely gonna give them, what, $2 million, I think, in this instance, or more. And, I don't know, I mean, and I pride myself on knowing the nonprofit because we, as you say, we get the calls. And I'm glad to see that the Boys Club is getting $500,000. They deserve it, probably $1 million, because what they're doing with young people there. But I'm just, and I see Food for the Journey. I see them out every morning giving meals. I see them. I see them every day, even in inclement weather. They provided meals even before this. I just, generally, I want to know who's out there doing what and for what purpose, and so that we know how to access these monies for our constituents. And I think, not having the information now really impositions me to vote on an amendment to the HUD component because I don't know who these folks are.
Mr. President, can I answer that? Because I was trying to chime in because I knew what Councilor Hoyt was trying to say. Council is just setting up the allocation. The contract still have to come before the council because of the dollar amounts. So at that point, you'll be able to review the contracts and the transparency forms of all the individuals. So I wanted to just throw that in there. You're not approving the actual agreement. That's the second step once we get the allocation in place.
Yeah, well, and Chaz, I can appreciate that. You're very thorough. And but it's disheartening when you cut other programs out. And then you got all these new folk that we don't know if they have the ability to really carry out what they say they're going to carry out. That concerns me greatly. And I think we all need to be concerned with that. Just giving folk money and them not having the ability of the staff to be able to implement what they say they're going to do is one thing. And I know that there are other organizations that exist and have given, have staff and whatever, and they're not on this list.
Council President, may I speak to that? Yes, sir. Councilor Hoyt, we have a professional staff here that we take pride in reviewing all of the proposals that come before us. And our prime objective is to stay in compliance with HUD. And with that being said, whether a organization has the capacity, first of all, if what they're proposing is an eligible activity under these programs, that's far and foremost important. Secondly, do they have the capacity to deliver what they say that they're going to deliver? So yes, we have a professional staff of grant managers who work with these organizations every day. And we would not be presenting any, I repeat, any organization, nonprofit organization to the council if we did not feel like they could perform. Now, our goal is to keep the cities in compliance, because whether it's under this council or this administration or the next one, we do not want HUD coming back and asking the city of Birmingham to pay back federal dollars because we did not spend them appropriately. So I just want to put that out there, that we take great pride in our review process. We even opened up our review process because this year for CARES Act, because it's usually just internal to community development with our grant managers. We involved staff in PEP, staff in Innovation and Economic Opportunity. We involve staff in the Office of the City Attorney, I believe a few other departments. So you can be rest assured that we're not putting any organization before you that we feel that do not have the capability to deliver in spending these funds on behalf of our low to moderate income residents in the city of Birmingham.
Yeah, and Mr. Hatcher, and I appreciate that. And I'm not saying what the capability of the staff. That was not my question, but you presented something to hear that we don't have all the information, and that helps me to make a decision. But obviously, you have information that we don't have, because these organizations that you all have vetted, I suspect, and have gone through their information. I just would have liked to have had that same opportunity that you had to make sure. And it won't be the first time that we've given money to organizations and they later found out they couldn't deliver either. I've been around here long enough to know that. We've had to pull some money from developers.
Yes, sir, Mr. Hoyt. Thank you, Chris.
Okay.
All right, yeah, we're going to work through this. Council Hoyt, we're wrapping up on, Council Hoyt, are you in a good spot now, or?
I'm not, but y'all got the votes to pass it. I mean, I just can't make an uninformed decision.
Okay, all right. Well, let me ask this. Here's where we are. I think to get us in a good space is, I think where we can get the point of contacts and a little narrative and put together, a booklet, that kind of thing, whether it's on the website or handouts, we can work together on that and provide that information. And so by the time the contracts do come back, Councilor Hoyt, I think it's been indicated, everything, transparency, all that information will be readily available. And then we can proceed from there.
Mr. President.
Basically, we don't approve the contracts, then this is just putting the process in place. The contracts have to be approved via the council. So we'll be on the lookout for that. And do y'all have any idea of what time frame the contracts will be coming back before the council?
So, Mr. President, that was, your point is exactly what I was going to stress, and to follow up with Councilor Hoyt's request and for the council, a few things. We'll provide the information that you said. It's certainly duly noted and absolutely respected. And then we'll have Mr. Hatcher and Mr. Mitchell, and Mr. Datcher typically works with that team to provide you with a schedule in terms of timeline and follow-up. But we hear, Councilor Hoyt, we hear you all loud and clear. We'll make certain that you have that information.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Chief, and thank you others. And Council, I think that'll get us in a good space. Good. So,
listen, I'm not going to change my position because I don't have information.
All right, okay.
Yeah, so that's fine.
Right.
I ain't got no problem. Y'all can do whatever you want to do with that.
All right. Okay. All right. Are there other questions or comments from any other councilors? Okay. Clerk, we're ready. Item number 28.
Okay. Councilmember Abbott.
Aye.
Councilmember Hilliard.
Aye.
Councilmember Hoyt.
Resounding no.
Councilmember O'Quinn.
Yes.
Councilmember Smitherman. Councilmember Williams. Councilmember Woods. Council President Pro Tem Alexander.
Aye.
Council President Parker.
Aye. I didn't hear all the votes. Mr. Clark, is it?
You got 5 yes votes and 1 no vote.
Okay, all right, the item passes. Okay. Next item, Mr. Clark.
Should be the emergency purchase notice for item number 73, receiving the emergency purchase notice from the purchasing agent relative to the repair of the air conditioning in a portion of the municipal court building. And that concludes your agenda items.
Okay, all righty. Are there, Councilor Abbott, I'm sure you have a report for tonight. Announcement about the budget and finance tonight.
Oh, yes, it's not tonight.
The hearing for the budget is tonight at 5:30.
Oh, yeah, that, I was thinking budget and finance, but yes, we do have our public hearing at 5:30. And it has been publicized. It's on our website, the call-in information, everything is there for members of the public to chime in and have their opinions heard. Of course, I do want to remind everyone that the council cannot make any changes to the city budget unless the mayor agrees to them. So if you come to us with a whole big long list of money that you'd like to have, that might not work out so well. So I just want to warn folks. And then our budget and finance meeting is June 14th, which happens to be my son's birthday, at 3:30 p.m. and submissions are due on June 9th by 12 noon. So thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you. Okay. Other committee?
Yeah, Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's not that we can't change the, if we get 6 votes, the mayor would have to come and meet with us and make some concessions. So we don't need to send that message out because we'll probably use it with another mayor or either this mayor at some point. But 6 votes is majority. And then you have to come in and if there's an impasse and you have some discussions, that's the democratic process. We don't have a dictatorship here. So just want to make sure that the citizens know. And we don't need to continue to spread that kind of information because it's not right. It's wrong information. But I wanted to say that I received
Council Hoyt, I'm not going to get you in disagreement, but I would refer you back to the legislation where I think it states in there that the mayor has to agree to any changes in writing. So I would refer you back to that piece of legislation.
I'm aware of the legislation, but I also know that the legislators can't control our vote. You know, we don't necessarily have to vote on the budget. And we've done that before since the change. When the outgoing former mayor, and with this mayor, we didn't pass the budget until well after this mayor got here. So we've already set a precedence on the change, and so to say that we don't have any, we can't change it, is a misnomer. And you know, and I ain't been in law school, but I can read and I know how to interpret. And you know, I got 2 in my house, so. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. You know, this council can decide what it needs to do, what's best for this city, in addition to the mayor. But I received a letter from one of my constituents who copied me and the mayor. And I wrote her back because I wanted to know that we received a letter. I think I copied you all on it. And it concerns me greatly that the mayor has not responded to her. It concerns me greatly that we have a chair of public safety who's not spoken about this high crime gun violence that we have in our city. And, you know, and I'm beginning to think that if this was in his district, he'd be outraged. But disproportionately, we continue to see these spikes even after the young man lost his life. That was another group of folks at a Chevron station on Anza Avenue. And you know, and I'm getting the calls, and these people are writing, and when people write, they mean they have a genuine concern. And to have a chair of public safety who does not think that it's important to either speak or to respond, he's not responding either. Something is amiss in government. And the citizens ought to be tired. Because hell, I'm tired.
Respond to him.
And all my folk in my district are tired.
President Parker, can you remind the council of what was sent to you all in writing?
I don't need you to remind me of anything. I can read and write and understand. This is my opportunity to make comments. He asked me for public comments. That's what I'm giving them. I received a letter, and I'll come back next week and read it. I'm done.
Mr. President, you're muted. We can't hear you.
Okay, all right. I would say real quick, the community as a whole has gotten fed up with the amount of violence that we've had. That was quoted from City Councilman Hunter Williams. That was in a story that was published in CBS 42 within the last 24, 48 hours. So I just want to make sure that there has been communication of the committee. So let's move on. Hold on, Councilor Hoyt. Councilor Hoyt, you've not been recognized. Next, Councilor Hoyt, you've not been recognized. Councilor Hoyt, Councilor Hoyt, Councilor Hoyt.
Do what y'all did last week.
Other members of the committee, other members that want to talk about committee, and then we're going to move to adjourn. Are there other members, other committees? All right, we have a motion to adjourn.
So move, Mr. President.
Second.
All right, Mr. Clerk, we're ready to vote. All in favor?
Let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed.
Okay, all right, meeting adjourned. Thank you all, everyone.